A Ukrainian soldier spots the advancing heavy armored vehicles and immediately returns to his position to report to his commander. Russian artillery opens heavy fire to protect these armored units and attempts to prevent Ukrainian soldiers from launching a counterattack. However, the artillery barrage cannot stop the unmanned aerial vehicles from taking off. The order is given, and Ukrainian UAV operators spring into action. The first drone rises into the sky and crashes into a tank. This is only the beginning, as the Ukrainians have many more drones at their disposal. Despite being hit repeatedly, the tank struggles to advance. But after several direct hits, it comes to a complete stop. Seeing the tank burning to ashes, the infantry fighting vehicle bursts out of the village entrance. Panic spreads rapidly. Russian soldiers abandon their armored vehicles and scatter.
Reconnaissance drones spot a Ukrainian FPV kamikaze drone and at least 4 Russian soldiers who have already abandoned their positions. One of them desperately fires his rifle into the air, trying to shoot down the drone. But it's too late. As the drones continue to take off, one after another, the Russian troops disintegrate. Some flee into the forest, others hide among the ruins of destroyed village houses. A few manage to sneak through open terrain and hide in a small basement. However, one of them makes a mistake. He fires at the drone, drawing attention. At first, it seems like luck is on his side, but he gets stuck in a narrow alley, revealing his and his friend's location. Just when he thinks he's safe, the sharp buzzing sound at the door betrays him. Within seconds, he realizes the price of his mistake. The Ukrainians systematically eliminate every possible hiding place.
A group of Russian soldiers barricade themselves inside a house, but are completely trapped by constant drone attacks. At the same time, a heavy drone nicknamed Baba Yaga, carrying mortar ammunition, takes off. The impact of the strike is so powerful that a Russian soldier inside cannot withstand it, leaps from the building, and starts running across open terrain. He advances nearly 50 meters, but is caught by the drone before reaching the forest. Some Russian soldiers who have taken refuge in the forest go unnoticed for a while. One of them freezes, thinking he will remain invisible if he doesn't move. However, this only makes the drone operator's job easier. The target is plain to see, and there is no need to chase him. Meanwhile, Ukrainian soldiers emerge from their trenches and advance after the artillery fire stops. Crawling with discipline and determination through the tall grass, they hear a sound coming from nearby bushes. As they approach, a hidden Russian soldier appears. He fires first, but the Ukrainians respond immediately. It takes longer to find the last remaining soldier. He has managed to escape farther than the others. Still, the pursuing troops eventually catch him too. He tries to resist by firing as he runs, but his fate is no different from the others. Whether he ran out of ammunition or was more level-headed than the others is unknown, but in the end, he chooses to surrender. This decision saves his life. Most likely, he will be sent back to Russia in a future prisoner exchange. The Ukraine-Russia War, which began in 2014 and escalated with a large-scale invasion in 2022, has become one of the most complex land conflicts of the modern era. Ukraine's ability to repel Russian armored convoys over the past 2 years has been one of the key factors determining the course of the war. The Russian army relies on long armored and motorized units to transport its soldiers, ammunition, and supplies. However, Ukraine has managed to neutralize these convoys by combining classic ground defense with modern drone tactics. The Donbas, Luhansk, Zaporizhia, and Kerch lines stand out among the areas where the fighting is most intense. Donbas is a strategic center with its coal reserves, industrial facilities, and infrastructure. Russia wants to completely capture this region to cut off Ukraine's industrial lifeline. However, Ukrainian forces have turned narrow roads, village passages, and industrial areas into fortresses. Minefields, tank ditches, and ambushes trap Russian convoys like chess pieces. Another critical front is Zaporizhia. Seen as the key to the southern line, this region connects supply routes to Crimea. While Russia tries to secure the north-south land corridor, Ukraine conducts drone reconnaissance day and night. Although convoy movements are mostly shifted to nighttime, precision strikes at dawn or midnight disrupt these plans. By targeting fuel tankers, bridge crossings, and armored vehicles, Russia's supply chain is constantly severed and its troops remain under pressure. One of Ukraine's most effective weapons is FPV kamikaze drones. Controlled in real time by an operator, these vehicles destroy tanks worth millions of dollars at a cost of just a few $1,000s by striking their engines, turrets, or fuel tanks. This maximizes impact with limited resources. However, it's not just about ammunition. The human factor is also decisive. Russian troops often advance in long convoys, assuming their rear is secure. Meanwhile, Ukraine's small mobile teams infiltrate behind these lines, cutting communication lines and providing target information to drone operators. Bridges and roads are mined overnight, and in the morning, convoys caught in ambushes suffer heavy losses. Javelin missiles and portable air defense systems supplied by the West also strengthen this defense line. Although Russia tries to advance with artillery bombardment, Ukraine's mobile defense strategy reduces the impact of these attacks. Ukrainians, who frequently change positions and set traps, leave no room for convoys to maneuver. Psychological impact is also significant in this war. Ukraine frequently shares footage of successful drone attacks with the public and the world. These videos both demoralize Russian soldiers and boost the resilience of the Ukrainian people. They also strengthen Western support. Although Russia tries to conceal its losses, it is impossible to completely hide the truth in the information age. One of the most critical pillars of Russia's military activities in Ukraine is its extensive supply lines extending behind the front lines. These lines continuously deliver ammunition, fuel, provisions, and new equipment to frontline units. However, as the war drags on, this logistical network has come under increasing pressure. The Ukrainian army is monitoring the battlefield much more effectively than in the early stages of the conflict, and is pursuing a planned strategy targeting Russia's logistical capabilities. Bridges, railroad crossings, and vehicle convoys are constantly monitored by Ukrainian intelligence units. Drones and reconnaissance teams observe the movements of Russian trucks day and night. As soon as movement patterns, route times, or temporary storage points are identified, artillery batteries or FPV drones strike with high precision. Supply operations towards Donetsk and Zaporizhia have been severely disrupted in recent weeks. Daytime convoy movements have become nearly impossible, while Russia attempts to shift shipments to nighttime. Thermal cameras and long-range reconnaissance drones thwart these efforts. Even fuel tankers hidden behind hills are located and struck. Targeting a single truck can disrupt a supply chain stretching for miles. If a vehicle loaded with ammunition is hit, the explosion spreads to other vehicles in a chain reaction. After such losses, Russian forces are forced to move their logistics centers further back, reducing the volume and speed of supplies reaching the front lines. In some areas, soldiers are forced to transport ammunition and fuel themselves, leaving them vulnerable to reconnaissance drones. Ukraine particularly prefers to target small convoys because these attacks create psychological collapse and force Russian troops to move more slowly and cautiously. Sometimes Russian command posts escort supply convoys with air defense vehicles, but the number of vehicles is limited, so not every convoy can be protected. This provides Ukraine with a constant stream of new targets. The railway network is another front. Russia relies on railways to transport tanks, heavy artillery systems, and large quantities of ammunition.
However, Ukraine strikes bridges, stations, and transfer points with precision rocket systems. Often, even a few kilometers of track being disabled is enough to halt all shipments in the entire region for hours. As a result, Russia is forced to wage a relentless logistical war behind the front lines while fighting on the front lines. Ukraine's strategy is clear. Rather than directly exhausting the enemy on the front lines, it aims to leave them without ammunition, fuel, or support. Recent reports show this approach is becoming increasingly effective. One of the most important lessons shaping the future of modern warfare is now clear. The security of logistics lines, the mobility of armored units, and the success of drone operations are the keys to victory. Russia is still forced to rely on large convoys, but each convoy destroyed shifts the balance slightly more in Ukraine's favor. Each successful attack is not only a military blow, but also a strategic and psychological one. This war has become a living example of how drones, precision strikes, and real-time intelligence are disrupting traditional methods of warfare.